I'm Mark Cuban, and this is how I made, saved, and spent my first million, and then flipped it into a billion. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, just a middle-class kid. My dad did upholstery on cars. My mom did odd jobs. As long as I can remember, I was hustling. I remember going to my dad while he was playing poker with his buddies and saying, "Dad, I need some new sneakers." And he looked at me, looked at my feet, and he goes, "Those tennis shoes you got on, they work. When you have a job, you can buy whatever you want." And one of his buddies that had to be drunk was sitting at the poker table with him. And he goes, "Hey, I got something you can sell. I got all these boxes of garbage bags. Why don't you sell them in the neighborhood, and then you can take the money you make and buy your sneakers?" He had these boxes, and he sold to me for $3. I sold them for $6, but it went like this. "Hi, my name is Mark. Do you use garbage bags? I've got a great deal for you, and every time you need garbage bags, all you ever have to do is call me, and I'll put them in the back of my wagon, and I'll bring them right down to your house." That was my first business, the world's first, probably only, garbage bag door-to-door subscription company. As I started to get older and got into high school in particular, I realized that high school wasn't my jam, that I wanted to learn as much as I could about business. I started taking classes at night at the University of Pittsburgh when I was 16. And then when I was 17, I dropped out of high school altogether and went to Pitt full time. That's where things really started to happen for me. I never ever thought in terms of money, okay, I need to make millions. I always thought in terms of time. Has always been my driving motivation. How can I control my own destiny? How can I control my own time? I started a company called Micro Solutions, and from there we just grew and grew and grew and ended up selling that. That's how I got my first stacks. So here's the rundown of when I sold Micro Solutions for $6 million. So $1 million went to employees, $2 million to a partner I brought in, $2 million to me. I lived like a student. The first thing I did was buy a lifetime pass on American Airlines, and I just went all around the world taking friends and partying like a rock star. Other than the Air Pass, I wasn't just buying shit. I was saving it. I could have gone out and bought a bigger house, bought a nicer car. I didn't care. What it bought me was freedom. I never thought I was going to work again. I'd made a ton of money in the stock market. I was worth $20+ million. Life was good. Then one of my buddies from college, Todd Wagner, sat down with me, and this was in 1995. He was like, there's this whole new thing called the internet. There's got to be a way we can use this to listen to Indiana basketball. We set up this website called AudioNet, and the next thing you know, video comes along, and we turned it into a company called broadcast.com. And so we started what turned out to be the very first streaming company. On July 18th, 1998, we went public, and we're guessing, what's the stock going to open at? And I was the high. I'm thinking $33. Shit goes $62.75. All of a sudden, I'm worth $300 million plus. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, fuck. If this stock price triples, I'm a billionaire. Well, we took that company and became the biggest media portal on the internet. And Yahoo came along and made us an offer. And all of a sudden, that stock price tripled, and I was a billionaire. We sold the company to Yahoo for stock. And I had seen stocks go up, and I had seen stocks go down. And I told Todd, my partner, I told everybody who worked for us, there's a good chance because this stock market is so highly priced that the whole thing could crash. Don't be greedy. Todd had the same. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Don't get slaughtered. So I put together what they call a collar. And what that is, I sold some of the upside to that Yahoo stock that they gave me, and I protected myself by buying puts on the downside. 3 months later, the internet stock market cratered. It was called one of the top 10 Wall Street trades of all time. And it taught me a hell of a lesson. When you just chase dollars, it never works out well. I was worth $1 billion motherfucking dollars. That was the most insane thing that I could ever come to realize. All I had to do was protect it and not get greedy, and I'd be set for the rest of my life. We talked about how I made and saved some money. We don't quite have $1 billion here, but let me tell you how I spent it. I told you I value time. First thing I bought, Gulfstream G5. Now, I didn't just buy it. I'm a tech guy. I go online and I'm like looking up Gulfstream G5, email the guy, and I'm like, can I do a test flight? First time I'd ever been on a private plane. Sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh shit, this could be my plane. So I stacked up some more, and I sent him an email saying, done, $40 million, I'll buy it. biggest online purchase in the history of the internet, still to this day, was my buying that Gulfstream G5. Why'd I want a plane? Because the most valuable asset you can never own is your time. And the one thing I can do is save time and get to places, and it was fucking amazing. Second purchase, I paid $285 million for the Dallas Mavericks. I went to an opening night of the 99-2000 season. First game of the year. Wasn't sold out. Energy wasn't in the building. I'm a season ticket holder, a huge Mavs fan. I look around thinking, I can do a better job than this. Then I realized I can put my money where my mouth is. This was early November. By January 4th, I owned the Dallas Mavericks. So when I took over the Mavs, I didn't get a big office. I didn't give a shit about an office. I didn't get a big desk. I didn't give a shit about a big desk. We had a sales bullpen. We called it the fishbowl because it was in an open office with all these windows. And we had 8, 9, whatever salesperson. I put my desk right in the middle of them. I put a phone book and a computer printout of all of our former customers. And right there next to them, I just started dialing, trying to sell the Mavericks. Ma'am, I know you've been to a Mavericks game before, but you realize now that it's less expensive to come to a Mavericks game than to take your family to McDonald's? Our tickets start at $8, and McDonald's and a Coke is more than that. Why don't you come and try us out? The first game's free on me. I wanted everybody that worked with me to see that if I asked them to do it, I'll do it. Same thing I did with people in the front office, I did with players on the court. We moved into a new arena, American Airlines Center. I wanted them to, when they go to work, feel good about going to work. We put in PlayStations, we put in TV screens. Now to this day, we upgraded it so that we had aroma, because different aromas impact you more before a game when you're trying to get hype versus after the game. Light impacts you more. All these things that try to give our players an edge to help us win, but to also help them succeed. If you're running a company, and if you can align your interests with those of the people you work with, things are going to work for you. And you know what's really cool about owning a team? It's not so much owning the team. There's little perks. Let's just say that you're down 1. There's 3 seconds to go in the game. Your team takes the shot for the chance to win. The ball's in the air. Everybody is holding their breath. And when that ball goes through the hoop, you see the players go running out and dogpiling on top of each other, screaming and yelling and huddling, and you see this big pile of people. Well, I own the team. I get to run out with them. No one's going to arrest me. It's my team, and that is the most amazing part of owning the team. There's not enough stacks in the universe what that was worth to me. That was my second big purchase. Third big purchase, I need to set an example here and take the money down, because there was a lesson in my third big purchase. So one day, one of my partners from Micro Solutions, Martin Woodall, comes up to me and he goes, there's this amazing house that's about to go into foreclosure. The guy who owned it spent 3 years building it. This is their dream house. He and his wife and his whole family spent $25 million building this house. Only lived there 8 months, and then the stock market crashed, and he had never sold a share of stock. And because of that, he had to get rid of his house. Martin called me and said, you can buy it right now, but you have to let me know today, yes or no, $12.5 million. I'd never seen the house. I saw some pictures. I'd never been there. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm a billionaire. That was my one, why the fuck not purchase. And it was an amazing house. I've raised my 3 kids there, still live there, but the lesson is large. You know, you can't ever take wealth for granted. You can't ever think it's always going to be there. If it's not, you're going to get busted. If you want to be a millionaire, you can do it. But there's a couple things you have to be able to accomplish. Rule number 1, find something you can be good at and then be great at it. Second, you have to know how to sell. Whatever it is you're good at, somebody's going to need that service. Someone's going to need that, whatever it is that you're creating, but you have to be able to sell, because you don't want to be in a position where you're dependent on other people. Number 3, be curious and always be learning. Because the one thing that's certain about business is that it changes every single day. And then the fourth thing, when you have that knowledge, when you have that ability to sell, when you know that when you walk into a room, you know your shit better than anybody else in the room, that's when it's time to start a company. Then you can start to control your own destiny.